Hey guys, before we actually get into the actual episode of, or in this case, the final video of the Super Smash Bros. Brawl playthrough, in this case the Subspace Emissary mode, is that we totally completely ignored the last secret in the entire game. Before the actual, the final three things before we actually get into. And luckily though, since we actually get into the Subspace Bomb Factory Part 2, we actually come across into our next CD we actually come across, the Venendo, that, I believe of all the bonus areas we actually been into in the Subspace Bomb Factory, this is the one that we always attempt to miss on, so... Well, luckily though, since you managed to have the ability to actually just to revisit some of these levels, but even then though, that the game tells us the thing about it, we don't exactly know if we're actually completely done with the whole entire level for it. So even then though, but that's being the case, that this particular secret area has always been the last secret area. That I always have found myself really quite stingy with that, you know, that bonus area or what have you. So even then though, that we managed to got that by considerably lucky. So yeah, for the most part, we will showcase off the brief moment on that one CD we actually got. I believe that because, you know, since it's quite randomized at times, if you actually decide to grab those CDs to begin with, even then though it's not 100% guarantee, you can actually just decide to actually get yourselves the true definition of the actual CDs you want to get. Because, you know, the thing doesn't tell you until you actually reach into the results screen or whatever, so... Well, especially this notification if you actually just manage to pop up out of notice. So, yeah, but that's out of the way, though, for the next, secret, bonus thing. But even then, though, that's, where we actually did manage to save our progression after the final boss in the game, which is the Great Maze, in this case after we defeated Taboo. Since we still managed to get ourselves 96% instead of 97, so even then though, 97% will always establish onto this specific level most likely, and the CD we've got is actually Team Galactic Team, which I believe is actually based off of from the Pokemon DS titles, most notably in Diamond and Pearl most likely. So, which I found this music is really, really cool to listen to, and I believe this normally takes place in Spear Pillar, which is actually the unlockable stage. But even then though, yeah. So that's out of the way though, so back into the actual video. So, yeah, let's get on with this. Enjoy this little piece of music. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, not much else to say. So, I'm Piglet here, and I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here. We are back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii for the likes of the Subspace Emissary mode. So last time we actually did manage to fully done with the Great Maze, including the likes of we actually beat the likes of the Taboo, the final boss in the game. And today for this episode we're about to continue on, and why is there still some flags shown up? Well, that's only because after when you beat the main game, there are still some slightly extras to it though. Yeah, now, remember how we actually got ourselves 32 playable characters at the moment? It turns out this game only brings us even more characters to the mix. Now, we say characters most likely because we'll get into those three levels, which consist of the forest, and the swamp level, and of course, I believe the ruins level. So, even then, we can actually revisit those three levels from time to time again. So even then, let's start with the easiest first, to the forest. So, conveniently enough though, so when you actually revisit some of these levels, you can choose from either of those 5 difficulties: easy, normal, hard, very hard, or intense mode. Intense mode is essentially the most difficult mode in the entire game. It's not just because of how the fact that you're going to be faced off against with the tougher opponents, but also the tougher enemies as well. So, and what's nice about this is that this is actually the easiest way in order to actually complete the intense mode on during the forest level, is the fact that we'll discuss more details as soon as we actually jump in. So, even though I haven't exactly explained too much upon the you know, the Sonic's movesets, including myself, the movesets, so even then we'll briefly discuss onto those. As you expected, if you press this standalone B attack for Sonic, you can actually perform the homing attack, which I believe we already established earlier enough. And the side special attacker performs a spin dash, and the up special attacker performs a spring jump, which actually is very, very helpful for you if you want to actually don't want to get into the bottomless pit or something, if you don't want to fall off to the stage. And finally, the down special attacker performs a spin charge, which I don't know why that spin charge was actually too much necessary, but even though it's kind of worth it, I suppose. So, Anyway, as you expected, as we be playing this on intense difficulties, even then, I found this to be a lot easier with this particular door has actually appeared. Because, as you can see, every once in a while, there's actually a, this well-placed red door usually placed. Toon Link. So yeah, what that red door usually contains, it actually contains that you're actually going to be fighting one of those 3 secret characters. So the first one we actually got is Toon Link. So Toon Link's first appearance was obviously in The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker for the Nintendo GameCube. But even then though, he's more likely the equivalent version of Young Link from Melee, but except the fact that he's actually a little bit more faster and as well as quite agile at points. So anyways, the stage we're going to be fighting with him, it was actually formed of the pirate ship. So even then, again, based off of from The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. So, but even then, that much like any other Super Smash Bros. Games, that in order to actually unlock those specific characters, you must able to battle them one-on-one until you actually knock them over, until you actually able to actually unlock those specific characters. So, but yeah, as far as unlocking Toon Link is concerned, that there are only consist of 3 different methods, but there's a catch. In order to actually just to manage to do one of the unlockable methods, or in this case 2, mind you, is the fact that although there's only one exception, and that was the form of, well, first off, you can either just play 400 matches, in this case 400 versus matches, or completing the classic mode with any character. Well, at least as far as only Link, as far as I'm concerned, with any difficulty after when you actually finish the Subspace Emissary mode first, or simply just to fight against Toon Link in the forest until you actually manage to decide to actually, fight him. So, again, if you actually knock him down, then you should be able to actually play as him in the Subspace Emissary mode. Or, alternatively, if you have a first-time play through the game, you can simply just actually play as him anywhere else, like including versus matches and classic mode and all-star mode. So, anyways, now we got ourselves 98%, so we actually off by 2% off, so even then though, we're pretty much almost done here. So, yeah, next up we're going to be heading to is the ruins. Now, we started going for the ruins first before the swamp level. It's probably because the swamp level is easily the longest level for the regular levels. Aside from that though, I'm pretty sure the ruins is actually, in terms of the lengthwise, is actually slightly shorter, but it doesn't usually come close to that. So, anyway though, so yeah, now let's go ahead and showcase off Toon Link, speaking of which. He's basically more likely equivalent version of regular Link, except with the Wind Waker overall feel to it. But even then though, that as I established earlier, that he's the only difference between, or essentially he's also equivalent version of, Young Link from Melee, but the noticeable difference was though is that his attacks are ridiculously faster now, and also judged by the fact that I'm pretty sure that, well, obviously it's in a Wind Waker makeover, so it's nothing like Ocarina of Time or anything like that, or the Majora's Mask counterpart from Young Link. But anyway though, so as far as moveset is concerned, it feels more likely identical to Link's, much like Young Link and the regular Link as well. So if that's the case, if you actually press in their standalone B attack, or in this case the natural special attack, it performs a hero's bow, which if you press the special button down, if you release it, then you should be able to actually launch the bow right at us. So, and the side special attack, it performs a boomerang, so not the rolling boomerang, unlike the regular Link. But even though, no, that's only because the regular Link always attempts to get his movesets based off from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, most likely. So that makes it more obvious. And an up special attack performs a spin attack, which can be very useful in some parts, most notably if you actually recover for yourself if you don't want to, fall down to the bottomless pit or anything like that, which is always recommendable. So, and finally the down special attack performs a special bomb. So, but even then though, what I found is very unique about Toon Link compared to the regular Link, and especially Young Link, is that they always usually have the exact same explosion effect. But even then though, Young Link specifically actually has the very unique explosion effect, which is actually based off of, again, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So, yeah, which is pretty specialty as far as I'm concerned. So, But yeah, that's always goes. But even then, though, as far as we already mentioned earlier, that Toon Link was actually forms of first appearance RPC in The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, released in 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube. Well, during the, as far as this point in time, that the Wii U version already came out during 2013 at this point in time. Well, granted, that game was almost 4 years old in that time, so even then, that we can hopefully guarantee that, release dates department as far as that's being concerned of. So, hopefully we can actually try to dodge these crystals over there. So, I'm really hoping if we actually just smash it. Oh, I don't want to let that bomb. Ah, no! Ah, too late. The smart bomb is usually catches off our guards. But hopefully we can let Yoshi decide to deal with this, even though Yoshi is quite easily fragile for that one point. Well, not necessarily fragile, but he's actually recommendable, but you know. Wolf. So yeah, we have ourselves our third Star Fox character playable in the Super Smash Bros. Debut. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, is actually forms of Wolf. I believe his first appearance was obviously in Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, or Star Wing, and if you guys lived in Europe. So even then, that we can hardly guarantee we can actually fight him. So, and the battle arena we're about to fight against him, it was actually form of the Light Cruise. Now, between the pirate ship, and especially noticeable in Light Cruise, those stages will make a return in Super Smash Bros. 4 for the Nintendo Wii U, most likely. And same goes for the third one as well, but even then, we'll save that up until we actually get into the Swamp level, so... Now, he's also the unlockable fighter, and in order to actually unlock him, it's by simply you have to go for either play 450 matches maximum, which is quite a lot, considering how the fact that you can actually deal with a ton of matches in that particular point. Or you can simply either just manage to complete boss battles with either Fox or Falco, depends on what players you're going to be using. But even then, though, that's another thing we need to point things out, though, is that after when you finish the Subspace Emissary mode, you also manage to unlock yourselves boss battle mode. So even then, though, you can actually play through possibly 10 bosses in the entirety of the Subspace Emissary mode. But even then, though, that some of the inclusions like Master Hand and Crazy Hand included. So that's actually pretty welcoming. So yeah, that's all I can say. So yeah, you can simply just either complete the boss battles with either Fox or Falco, but after when you finish off the Subspace Emissary mode first things first. Or speaking of such, is that, or in the method number 3, is by simply you have to go through the Ruins level and find the secret room, and that's all you're really trying to do here. So, and speaking of Wolf, let's go ahead and talk about him. He's basically more likely a yet another clone character, very similar to Fox and Falco. So, I think the noticeable difference was though this time around is actually forms of some of the tactics he actually performs. Like, obviously the natural premise of the actual attacks themselves are very similar to the likes of Fox and Falco movesets. Like, natural special attacker performs a blaster, and side special attacker performs a wall flash. Sorry for a little bit of a tangent. And up special attacker performs a fire wolf, which is basically, rather than you actually covered in fire, instead it's more likely just a little bit more, I don't know what you call it, just like this. But even then though, that it always goes diagonally. You can't actually change the direction if you decide to do that. That's a noticeable difference there. And finally the down special attacker performs a reflector, so obviously he's basically exactly similar to how he does it in Fox and Falco most likely, so yeah, that's all I can really imagine about it. So, although to be fair, that I may be wrong about this, but even then, that his first appearance was not actually Star Wing, it was actually form of Liars Wars instead. I'm pretty sure I may be wrong about that, but again, we haven't recently researched upon the Star Fox series basically. So even then, I really do apologize for that department there, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're going to be heading on to the Swamp level, aka the longest level of the main levels of the game, specifically in the Subspace Emissary mode, not counting the Great Maze. Because the reason why we decided to go for this level for last is probably because, the length of the level is actually really long. And especially noticeable that how the fact that the forest level is actually very, very short, because, it's almost nearby towards. So even then, though, that is pretty much a guarantee of how the fact that we actually did manage to counter this kinds of stuff. So, yeah, that's all I can really mention about it. Even at that time, I'm pretty sure we actually all got only 1% left until we actually completely done with the Subspace Emissary mode, which is kind of more likely the first time we actually trying to accomplish something like 100% completion of the entirety of the Subspace Emissary mode. Yeah, which is quite cool if you ask me. So, before we continue, it's best to recommend you have to grab these too many maximum tomatoes, so just in case we're able to regenerate our health, which is pretty noticeable in some cases. So hopefully we can actually just climb up the ladder. So yeah, things doesn't get too much drastic at the moment for the time's sake of being. We even end up that again. The only part that you might actually get catch off by, or especially noticeable about the fact that once you actually reach to the end of this sequence here, the only thing that makes it a little bit difficult compared to the other levels, or in this case essentially the other secret characters department, is actually you have to fight against with the evil version of, or the Shadow Bugs version of the giant Diddy Kong, because you know, he's pretty tough though, especially noticeable in the harder difficulties, or even intense difficulties, not to mention. But even though still, that's just more likely as far as I'm concerned, that, you know, they might consider just trying to actually, lose to this guy really easily, especially noticeable that, you know, because, you know, as what Piglet established earlier, it's probably because of how the fact that he's constantly dodging all the time, and also that the hit detections can be a little bit too precise. But even then though, that's only because of how the fact that he's actually gigantic. And even especially noticeable, taking notice from Giga Bowser fight in Super Smash Bros. Melee, for example, that you need to actually get your opponent's percentage even much more higher. I would say 300 or higher. It's probably because it gives us a little bit of a strategy going on. So even then that because we actually went over 300 or more, but even then granted we easily get butt kicks like this. But it doesn't matter though anyway, because we still get ourselves another chance. So even then thanks to Ganondorf right there, so even then that he might be the toughest person in the entirety of the Zelda experience. Well, usually for he's running so slowly and all that. Come on, he's almost down. There we go. So hopefully we can pretty much guarantee that we can actually go all the way towards the secret door with ease. So yeah, things should be interesting. One thing I need to point things out though is that the only negative thing I can think of about trying to actually get ourselves these 3 legendary secret characters is the fact that one thing I actually don't like about it is actually the load times, because sometimes the load times can really drag on at points. Even especially noticeable if you want to actually get into action, you have to sit through all of these little 10 seconds of your loading times. So even though that might be a little bit too much distraction. So yeah, that's all I can mention about it. So anyway though, so let's see if we can actually find ourselves our secret door here. In fact, there's actually a secret door just right there. Now, before we actually do anything else, we need to actually go ahead and swim all the way towards it. By the way, for these specific characters, most notably Ganondorf right there, he's actually really having a hard time swimming. However though, that specifically all the characters included, if you manage to swim onto the water for a long time, this happens. We just wanted to show you guys for that, because, you know, it might be pretty obvious if you actually swim on there for too long. Even then, as a result, characters drown and they all die. So, let's let myself take in charge. Jigglypuff. Yes, she was actually makes a return ever since in Super Smash Bros. The originals, and especially noticeable in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And for the 3rd time for Jigglypuff's career for the Super Smash Bros. Universe, she once again acts out as a lockable character. But even then though, that much like Toon Link and Wolf, that you must able to complete the Subspace Emissary mode in order to actually unlock her. Or for that matter, you can go right for those 3 different methods and stuff like that. Like, for instance, that you can either play through 350 versus matches, or simply just actually complete 20 or more events after completing the Subspace Emissary mode first, or simply just actually fight her in the likes of the Swamp level. So, and the stage we're going to be fighting her from is actually forms of Pokemon Stadium 2, which, by the way, that stage will also make a return in the likes of Super Smash Bros. 4 for Nintendo Wii U. So, yeah, that's as far as I'm concerned with that. But until it gets to the point until Smash 4, well, specifically the Wii U version, because the 3DS version, she might actually become the unlockable fighter yet again for the 4th time. But even then, though, that until when it gets to Smash for the Nintendo Wii U, she will not become unlockable character this time around. So that might be pretty obvious. So anyway, though, so he might be pretty easy to actually just try to knock her out. But even then, though, whenever I first time played for this in our own time back in June 2013 and stuff, I had a lot of struggling to try to actually beat this particular fighter, especially noticeable that sometimes they actually bring up some different gimmicks into Pokemon Stadium 2, but even then, that thanks to where we actually got right now, we now finally beat her. So, there you go. That's all the last final 3 secret fighters we actually did manage to unlock. So stickers-wise, we got is Chaos from Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, Torchic from Pokemon series, most notably in Generation 4, and finally Fly Guy from Mario Power Tennis. So there we go, folks. That is the 100% completion of the Subspace Emissary mode in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Yeah, as you can see this little flashing icon with this little crown symbol, this means you actually managed to complete the entirety of the main story, so that's how you usually expect it. Now, before we actually end this Let's Play off, we'll have to showcase off Jigglypuff's moveset and all that stuff. So, even though, as we established earlier, that since that she does make a return ever since Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. 64, so I'm pretty sure that she actually acted out exactly like how it does it for those 2 titles. But even then, that I don't know why we're going for Mid-Air Stadium, just because of how quick and short and easy it looks. So even then, for some reason, we're going to be fighting against with Mario. Although, to be fair, I'm thinking it's pretty sure that was usually guaranteed by the fact that we already just somehow managed to. Oh wow, that's a devastating blow. Yeah, especially noticeable that how the fact that the rest does make a return as well, which once again can actually pretty much a devastating move as far as I'm concerned. So, speaking of movesets, that she could once again performs a natural moveset, or in this case, a natural special move, is by simply you have to go and just roll out basically. So, special attacker performs a pound, which is essentially that she usually just pounds forward, means that you actually get yourselves a little bit of a punching momentum going on. So, in this case, some little horizontal momentum going. So, the up special attacker performs a sing, which can actually put enemies into sleep. And lastly, the down special attacker performs the rest ability, which sometimes that Jigglypuff will actually be slightly KO'd with any single time and effort when it comes to that particular moveset is concerned, because usually for that type of ability like that is always like really overpowered, which I think is actually really cool by the looks of it, especially noticeable in Melee and I really don't know in Smash 64 honestly, because even then though I haven't really tested that out yet. But even then, though, until Smash 4, and especially Melee and this, that the rest ability can be really, really overpowered, and also not to mention, it's really devastating as well. So, yeah. And last thing before we actually end this off, though, is the fact that recently they managed to look up on new movies that came out during the summer. Well, first off, they actually did announce Captain Underpants the movie, and as far as the reviews on that film, I actually think it's actually really good. Like, the Rotten Tomatoes is actually gives it like an 86%, which is actually feels really great. However, though, there's one film that usually just gives us as a negative review, which did recently came out in North America during a couple of days ago, actually. Or in this case, 3 or something? I think it's 3 days ago in North America specifically, and it will eventually come out during sometime on Wednesday, the 2nd, which is in form of the Emoji Movie, which I have to be brutally honest here, it kind of sucks. Even though to make matters worse though is that we have to go and see it though, so that's a little bit too much underwhelming experience. So yeah, with that being said though, that I'm pretty sure that we can actually discuss more into that details as soon as we actually get our final thoughts of the movie itself, until when that film decides to come out. But even then, I'm guaranteed I might not look and enjoying throughout. So anyway though, so let's post these Peach's page this time. But even though technically we've already done it from the beginning, but we only released Zelda for that time. Oh, yeah, that's how it explains it. Anyway, stickers-wise, we got Deku Nuts from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, most likely. Ballyhoo and Big Top from Mario Party 8, Shadow Mario from Super Mario Sunshine, and finally, Ko-Fi and Coleon Mask from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. So, yeah, that was about it, basically, and that was it for all these characters in Super Smash Bros. Brawl that we can actually instantly showcase. So, yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was it for our Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Even though we'd like to show you guys some extra bits and bobs here and there, but unfortunately, we're out of time. So even then, there's no way we can actually decide to actually showcase all these extra stuff and how this game offers. But even then, that's all I can think about. So, yeah, this is me, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Piglet here from the Maxi Toys. But even then, I really enjoyed this game, and we should probably give this game a 9.5 out of 10. But even then, despite online mode is really sucky at the moment, but I digress. So tune in next time of the Super Smash Bros. Let's Play department. Here's the form of the latest game in the series, Super Smash Bros. 4 for Nintendo Wii U, but not until 2018. So yeah, see you guys then. Bye. See you guys then. Thanks for watching.